we've covered a lot of topics in this podcast. So today we're going to touch on something we haven't talked about, which is mental health. How can that affect your relationship? So we're going to go over a few things based on research we've conducted on some of the things you can potentially cope with it and some of the ways to get help. So stay tuned.
Hey, Blissful friends, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Blissology Podcast. I am your girl, Cece, and I'm joined by my hubby who matched me today. What's the deal, baby?
I owned my shirt before she did. So
we're like the choir.
She's following me. So everybody, this is Will and welcome back. It's always a pleasure to have you guys with us. If this is your first time with us, please remember to subscribe and hit on the notification bell so you can be notified when we put out these videos. This is a weekly podcast. It comes out every Saturday. In this podcast, we talk about
love, life, family, relationships, and everything else going on. You know, we stay up to date, you know, and whatever's going on, we're going to talk about it.
Yes. Today's going to be an interesting topic. Something we haven't talked about.
That's right.
Yes. So, but before we do that, let's jump into the Blissful Moments segment.
Run it.
So, Sissy.
What's up, babe?
What's your blissful moment?
My blissful moment is, let me see. Well, the kids on vacation.
Okay.
We talked about that last week.
You know what that means is I will not be harassing them in the mornings so we can leave on time. So they can stay in bed peacefully while I handle my stuff. And I just go and kiss them goodbye. So no harassment from me for at least 2 months.
That's your blissful moment.
I don't get it.
We talked about this last week. What are you talking about? You don't get what?
I don't get it. I wake the kids up early. I iron their shirts.
That's
I get
not a
everything
blissful
lined
moment,
up.
baby. That's what you complaining. That's you being your feeling right now.
I'm not in my feelings. She's just happy she won't be hearing from me saying it's time to go. What's the wait? What's the hold up? I'm in the car's running. This is when she's hugging the little one.
And the little one is like, bye, mommy. And then she come back and hug me again. Bye, mommy. Bye, mommy.
All alone.
Bye, mommy.
We're late.
She don't be caring. You know that. She doesn't care.
Yeah, the older one was in
oh, yeah. She is so you. Like,
she has not, because of her and the little one, she hasn't been making it to her morning post as a safety patrol
for the last 2 months.
Well, like the last 3 months.
Okay. They sure did good.
See? So her blissful moment, she's happy she won't be hearing from me.
No, that's not true.
For the next 2 months, telling her that we need to get out. We need to get out.
That's not true. That's not true at all.
That's what I believe.
Yeah, y'all. I'm actually in my feeling right now.
So much for the blissful moments. I'll take the bliss out of it. We'll just call it a moment. Anyway, so let's get into the topic of the day, which is a serious topic.
Well, here's the thing. The month of May was all about mental health. And I feel like, you know, what's the best way to end the month? Podcast, talk about mental health. And we all know how this is an issue, whether if you are a kid, whether if you are a young adult, whether if you are
a grown
up, a grown woman, married or single life, or, you know, your 60s, 70s, 80s. Y'all know how this really, really affect your relationships, right? So I know it's not going to be, you know, all about fun, but we're going to make it fun. But it is something that we should, and I know I've been wanting to, you know, talk about this for a while. And I was like, you know what? Although I had the topic for this week, but because it is a mental health month, why not end the month with a topic about mental health? So go ahead, babe.
So how can it impact your relationship? Now, what we're going to share is our opinions. Obviously,
Right.
we didn't get a chance to bring the experts
We are the experts.
This is our opinion based on research we've done. And I think, the more we and everybody can learn about mental health, the better we can deal with it. Because I'll tell you, there's many of us that are exhibiting some of the symptoms. We don't even know what it is, especially in our community. This is
oh
not
my God,
something
yes.
that we even acknowledge exists.
Oh my God, yes. And if you do, they think that you're crazy.
Yes, they kind of cast you away.
Right.
But it's a real thing. It's a serious thing.
Thank you. Yes, it is.
And the impact of it can lead to some pretty devastating outcome.
Right.
Now, in a relationship, yes, mental illness can impact our lives, our relationship, our well-being, us as a human altogether.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to relationship, we're talking about intimacy is severely impacted when one partner suffers from mental illness.
Right.
And the sad thing is sometimes because of the stigma surrounding mental illness, one may be suffering, but suffering in silence,
Right.
and never opened up to the other partner to even seek help. And sometimes the other partner, because of the lack of knowledge, lack of exposure to this type of stuff, continue to dismiss all the signs.
Yes, I agree. And I think, in our community, there's a lot of people who suffer from this,
Yeah.
especially the ones where they can't voice their opinion because they have the fear of if they say something, they're gonna cast them away. They're gonna think there's something wrong with them, right? Like I truly feel like with this illness is something that if you have kids, whether if they're like in kindergarten or elementary school, middle school, high school, especially teenagers, you do not take this lightly at all.
Yeah.
This is something that it is so important. Yes, when you get older, it may be not that I want to say it's gonna be too late for you to get that taken care of. But I feel like when you're younger, it's a lot easier for you to get help, for you to find someone who can, help you with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's different stages in life that things are a lot easier to handle because you have less in your mind.
Right.
Imagine if you're a parent who's got children to take care of, you got to hold a job, you got to make a living, and you're suffering. It's a lot harder to go in, and if you have the healthcare to support it this way, it's not an out-of-pocket cost you're paying. Yes, but many people don't have that, which means not only they have to continue making a living, but they have to have enough to actually go and get help.
Right.
And getting help again in our community, if they know you're getting help for this, they think something is majorly wrong with you, which when you're suffering, something's wrong and it has to get looked at.
Yes.
But when people are casting you away, thinking that you're just not normal.
Right.
And I think it's a lack of education when it comes to this thing that cause people to behave this way. And I think the more awareness is brought to the issue, the easier people would be able to spot it and deal with it in their relationship.
Yes. And I truly feel like, y'all, we talked about communication a lot on this podcast. Like, I feel like if you go back 2 years ago, you'll hear every single podcast we have
Something to say about communication.
Yes. To us, communication is key to having a healthy, positive relationship, when it comes to mental health, right? Because you need your partner, you need your parents, you need your friend, your pastor, like whoever you feel like you close to, you need the help to deal with this illness. And I feel like a lot of us are afraid of asking. A lot of us are afraid of seeking for the help because we feel like if we ask for help, then they are going to look at us in a way that,
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah. It is very unfortunate, but I truly feel like communication, like once you start communicating this with your parents, your spouse, your whoever that you close with, this is something that somebody's going to say, you know what, she mentioned this to me several times. I need to take action. Because a lot of times we can't take action. But based on communication, based on how you communicate this with your parents, your spouse, you will get help. And I think it's definitely important. But babe, the question is, should you tell your partner when you're going through this illness?
Well, I think you should. Now, depending on what stage your relationship is, say, for instance, if I'm meeting someone for the first time,
right,
I wouldn't lead with that. However, if I know that I have the issue, I should have already been getting treatment for it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't lead with just come out and lay this on the table and say, hey, I suffer from this and this and this.
No, but I'm saying like your partner, like, should tell your spouse,
Yes, if you're already in a long-term relationship, you shouldn't keep that hidden. Actually, you should get this. You should communicate and be open to your partner as soon as you can and as soon as you find out that something's wrong, because you need that support in that relationship. Yeah. Especially if you intend to be in that relationship long term, that person needs to know what's going on.
Right.
Because something's going on with you and they don't know. You may be behaving a certain way. They may think that you're just being a jackass, but when in fact you're just dealing with your own issues. And mental illness can manifest in different ways in different people. But if you're in a relationship where your partner is aware that's what's going on, they can seek help themselves on how to deal with you.
Right.
But if they don't know, they could be beating you up thinking that you just being rude, disrespectful, and when in fact you're just trying to survive.
And I truly feel like that sometimes there's like, if your partner knows you well enough, they're going to know there's something wrong with you, right? Because I know my husband knows me so well. Like when I am in my corner or when I am not acting the way that I'm usually acting, he knows that. What's wrong, babe?
Now, if you start suffering from it, I'll know. Because, when you know someone, you'll detect changes in their behaviors. We have some patterns in the way we do things.
Right.
As much as we want to be unpredictable, we are predictable. We get used into our routine. We get into our routines. And one way you'll be able to tell that your partner is off is if you notice things are not quite happening the way that they used to.
Right.
And if you're the partner who noticed it, it's okay to sit that partner down and kind of lay out, I've been observing these, what's going on.
Yes. And I know sometimes, listen, let's say if it's the other way around, the man is sometimes suffering from mental illness and they don't want to share. Y'all know how it is when you guys know how it is with guys when they don't want to talk. They hold everything in. They don't want to share. Men don't like to share their feelings. It's something that back in the days, way back, they're not supposed to share their feelings. They're not supposed to cry. They're supposed to suck it up. They're supposed to be a man about it. But let me tell you something. There's a lot of men out there who are suffering, who are going through this because they were told they should not cry. They should not express their feelings. So therefore, they are going through it alone.
Yeah. I mean, we're brought in an environment where we need to be macho. We need to deal with whatever we're dealing. We need to face our challenge, which is not bad. I think as men, we need to be able to stand up and handle things. However, when you're not right, when you're dealing with something that needs professional help, you need to acknowledge the fact that you can't handle this on your own.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. And this is where, especially I know in our community, again, this is not something that we even acknowledge, but even some of those of us who realize we need help, sometimes finding the right help is a challenge as well.
Listen, to me, I've had my share of my moment, right? Way back. The solution is not, here's a prescription for you to easy off, for you to, to kind of like not thinking about it or it'll go away, here's this, it'll go away. But that's not the solution to this problem. The solution is for you to talk, get with someone and express how you feel. And I think sometimes this can also have an impact when it comes with intimacy with your partner, right?
Oh, yes. Because when you're suffering, especially if the other partner don't know, they can't understand what's going on with you. That's where frustration comes into play. That's when you get misunderstood.
Yeah.
And obviously, some of us are not very good at expressing what's going on with us. And that even causes more frustration. And you find when you're in a relationship, there's constant friction.
Yeah.
There's constant miscommunication, constant misunderstanding. How do you even get intimate with each other?
Yeah.
That's when you find you get depressed. You become very disinterested in some of the things that couples do as with each other.
Yeah, so, you just don't care for them anymore.
Yeah. So, but yes, it definitely will have a major impact on your love life, and it has to get addressed. It has to get addressed because the moment that you love you, because one thing you find out, if you're not doing well in your love life, emotionally you're not there, you suffer from, your relationship is literally on the verge of collapsing. And this is where if one partner realizes that there are some signs that the other partner is dealing with something, take the initiative.
Yeah.
Lay it out. And let this person feel that I'm not here to give you a hard time. I'm here so you can get better.
Right.
So this is what I'm willing to commit to help you get better. This is who we will see. And it's okay. I'm with you on it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, and actually not just sometimes, the person going through it could be having the hardest time understanding what's happening with them, let alone even knowing that they need help. So if you're in that relationship with that person, you do have someone have to stand up and take the initiative and says, you know what, this is what we're going to do. I noticed that. This is what I noticed. And this is who we're going to see. And this is how I think they're going to help you.
Right.
And I'm there for you from this point on and going forward. You can count on me. Because that will put that person at ease and be more open to accept the fact, you know what, you ain't with me. I'm dealing with some craziness that I don't even know what's happening with me,
right.
But at least you'll see it as the person who care for me, and you're going to take me to places or see people that can potentially help me.
Yes, I agree. While you were talking, I thought about, when it comes to intimacy, it's just that sometimes knowing the fact that your spouse is going through something like that and they don't want to be touched, they don't want you to do anything, right? I think if you know your spouse, just by cuddle with them or make them feel safe, make them feel like I got you. I know you're going through something. And sometimes even if you don't express it, that you're going through something, but because your spouse knows you well enough, they can tell that something's wrong. They're like, babe, whatever you're going through, I want you to know that I'm here. Whenever you're ready to talk, let's talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Because just the hug, just the cuddle, just that arm around you makes you feel safe, makes you feel like, wow, okay, I can, open up a little bit just to have this conversation, just to make him aware or make her aware that this is what I'm feeling. This is what's going on.
Absolutely.
So, there's signs, trust me, there's ways that you can help if you really want to help.
And it's always important to pay attention to your partner.
Oh my God, yes.
Pay attention, because the signs are always there. And if you don't pay attention when it finally hits you, it may be too late. So, but the signs are always there.
Right.
It's sad sometimes you find out people that are sleeping in the same bed as someone else, and they can't tell that something's wrong with that person. Sad. And so for those of you in relationship with someone, whether you're married or just cohabiting for the time being, pay attention.
Yeah.
Because the person that you say you love, if they go into something like this, they need your help.
Oh my God, that's when they need you the most.
Yes, they need your help. And you got to be there to help. Because if you can say you love this person, at times like this is your moment to prove how much you really love this person.
Yeah.
Because, you'll find when someone's going through this, you'll find they may not be empathetic. They may show no emotions to anything that's going on. And this is not when you pull yourself away from them and you
isolation.
start arguing. No, this is when you try to bring them in. Because if you pay attention, you'll realize that that's not quite how this person reacts. Something must be going on. Pay attention. You'll realize something's off.
You know, when these things happen, just don't feel like don't feel like it's time for you to move away from your partner. I think it's more like, let me get closer and see if I can get some help.
Yeah. And the help is not just for the person suffering. It's for the person, because when you're dealing with something that you don't know, you don't know how to act. You don't know what to do.
Right.
So if you find yourself in a relationship and you notice your partner may be going through something that's mentally related, you will need help yourself, because you will need to know how to deal with it. Because what that person is going through will have an impact on you, whether you like it or not, because you're living with this person.
Right. If you care.
If you're living with this person, I don't care if you care or not, it's going to impact you. So yes, if you care to stay together,
right,
get help yourself, because you will need to know how to deal with it. And these things, when someone's going through things like that, it requires patience, it requires understanding, and it requires a lot of physical support sometimes.
Yes.
Right? And obviously it depends on the severity of the issue the person's having. But you, who may be the well person, will need help in understanding how to deal with this. And that's also a problem in our community, is that we don't know how to handle it. We may know this person is going to some stuff, but we have no idea what to do. Listen, if you were to find yourself in a position where you're suffering, I'll have to get help myself, because I don't know what to do. I don't know how to cope with it. And it's important to get help, because if you don't know what to do, you're bound to do the wrong thing.
Right.
And believe me, the wrong thing never produces the right results.
No.
So get help for you and for the person that's suffering. It's important.
Yes, it is important. And when we say get help, yes, it's great to have the pastor, the priest, pray for you and trying to get you in a spiritual realm and for you to be able to get closer to God. And of course, when that happens, you feel a lot better. However, it's important for you to get help by seeking a professional, which is a therapist.
Yes.
Right.
And those people are given those skills by God as well.
Right.
So don't think because, you prayed no.
Listen,
God put it in those people to be able to help you.
I agree. Prayer works. Prayers are great, right? Especially when you and your spouse, you both couples seek a professional help, you get therapy, and then you know that you are going to get through it. Because sometimes your partner can do all that he can do and trying to figure you out, but then you need that extra help. That extra help is for you to seek a professional.
Yeah.
A lot of us, in our community, we don't seek professional. We don't, I feel like sometimes it's like, okay, do we really have to pay for this when we can just do it on our own, or get the pastor or the priest to do it? It's great to have the pastor and the priest to pray for us. At the same time, professionals are there for that reason. They went to school, like you said, babe. They went to school and God gave them the skills, the knowledge for them to be able to help us when we're going through this situation. So therefore, they have the skills. They have what we need for us to go through it mentally, right?
Yeah. One way to make it make sense to someone who maybe having a hard time understanding the importance of this, if you're pregnant and you're going to have a baby, you see a doctor who
get prenatals.
Yeah, so specialize in dealing with pregnant women and make sure that you get all the care that you need so you can have a healthy baby. Same thing goes for your mind. You don't sit around and just pray every day and hoping that your mind fixes itself. Get with someone who can potentially guide you in the right direction. Now, if your pastor is certified to do that, by all means, see your pastor that'll pray for you, and then they'll sit with you and counsel you.
Or priest.
Or your priest. But if they're not, seek for help. Now, remember, a pill is never the answer for every problem we run into.
This is a big deal. A lot of us, we take it very lightly. We don't really see that, oh my God, this is very, very serious. I really need to take care of this, because it can have an impact in my life later on.
Oh, yes. And not just later on, these impact that mental illness can have, it's usually immediate.
I feel like with this whole mental illness started with COVID, not to go way, way back, but I feel like during that time, a lot of us suffered from this. And I feel like ever since COVID, a lot of people, professionals, are more talking about it, are more making this aware that, hey, talk to your teenage daughters, talk to your teenage son, talk to your single, cousins or whatever, because this has, I feel like since COVID, this had a really, really major impact, especially on the teenagers, because I work with them at the church. It is so important for you to keep an eye on your spouse, your kids. It is so important because this is not light. I know in our community, we don't really see it as a big deal, but it is a big deal. Just because you're not going through it doesn't mean that it's not a big deal.
I agree.
Because it is a big deal.
It is a big deal. I mean, it's not something new. And as you mentioned, after COVID, it's becoming a topic that more people are talking about, and more people are becoming aware that it exists.
Right.
And it's a good thing that we're talking about it, because it was there.
Yeah.
But not to the scale that it becomes something that that was like out there for us to talk about. So and when this thing happens, the more awareness is built around it, the more people will be able to deal with it.
Right.
And the more resources will be available, or the more people will be able to find the resources available to get the help they need.
Yes.
So don't dismiss things that you may notice going on with your kids, your spouse, anyone who's close to you.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you may be the one that may be seeking the help that they need.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned way earlier, is that sometimes the effect of ignoring things like this can turn into some major devastation.
Right.
And obviously we've heard a number of things happen, and they've been blamed on mental illness.
Right.
Because people get to a point where they can't deal with themselves, and they feel like, you know what, I'm just going to do something crazy.
Yeah.
But I tell you, if a lot of these things were addressed early on, that could have been resolved.
Yes.
Now, parents, don't ignore your kids. I know we tend to let our kids just get those devices and let the devices be the only education the kids get. No. Spend some time with your kids. Let them know that you're there for them. Not the iPad, not the phone, but you as a parent.
Not social media, not TikTok.
Yes. That's we gotta learn to be the parents we were meant to be.
Yeah, love somebody.
Or be the spouse that we were meant to be.
Yeah, love somebody.
We on this earth to support each other.
That's right.
And the support sometimes is not just handing someone $100 bills. Well, that's good too, but that's not just that. Because I tell you, especially in a family where there are kids, sometimes the kids don't remember how much money you gave them.
Right.
But they remember how much time you spent with them.
That's right.
Your spouse, well, they'll remember the diamond ring that you gave them.
Hello.
But that's me saying that
time
if
is more valuable.
The time around your family, around the people you love, you'll pick up on things if something were there that needs to get addressed. And once you pick up on it, then you'll take the necessary step to make sure that they get the proper help, and they'll thank you later.
Right.
Because no one wants to live a life of misery, a life of pain. We all want to live to be comfortable and prosper and grow old. So if you can allow someone the help they need to do that, they'll thank you.
And we want to be safe as well. As you were talking, I'm hearing safe. Safety is important. You don't want your spouse to go to work and not knowing, like, okay, if she's gonna make it to work, or if he's gonna make it to work. Yeah. You want them to go to work happy Although the work maybe sucks, but as long as their mental is good,
Yeah.
that's all that matters. You want them to be happy driving to work, because when people have like mental illness, sometimes they're driving to work, they're driving to the grocery stores, they're driving to school, but they're not really there. So that's definitely important as well. So yes.
So that's our podcast on how mental health may affect our relationship. And it does. So if you're in a relationship, do whatever you need to make sure that you provide your partner, your spouse, the support they need. If they're dealing with mental issues, don't dismiss it. Don't take it lightly.
Please don't.
Educate yourself.
Yes.
So you can be a good supporter for them.
Yes.
And believe me, at the end of the day, it'll strengthen your relationship. You get that person in the right mindset. You get them the help they need.
Yeah.
And if you say you love someone, that's the ultimate way of showing your love.
That's right.
So thank you for listening. Please remember to
guys.
like, share, subscribe, and click on the bell notification so you can be notified when we put out videos like this one.
Yeah.
If this is your first time watching our podcast, please remember to subscribe and tell people around you what we do.
Yes.
I know this is a little bit of a different subject that we've covered.
But it was needed.
There's not a lot of laughter and giggling because this is something that's important.
Yes.
And none of us should take it lightly.
Yes.
So until then, be good to yourself, be good to your partner, be good to your family, and we'll see you. Peace.